First, I welcome all the participants and I also welcome today's distinguished speaker, Mr. Emmanuel Chateau, Animal Reproduction Specialist, IVF Training and Technical Support. Our another distinguished speaker is Misha Savik, DVM, Animal Reproduction Specialist, IMV Training, Technical Support, Biology and Service Manager. Today, our ISSAR President, Dr. Chandrasekhar Murthy is with us. Also welcome him also. And also welcome Mr. Dayagiri and all IMV team. In India, there are several reproductive biotechnology tools like AI, synchronization, embryo transfer, and then which were on in vitro fertilization or IVF through OPU. So today's international webinar is on embryo transfer, in vitro fertilization, and OPU. And this seminar was jointly organized by ISSAR, Indian Society for Study of Animal Reproduction, Maharastra Chapter, Maharashtra Animal and Fishery Science University, and IMV India. So I request on this occasion our President, Dr. Chandrasekhar Murthy, I request him to say a few words on this webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Sahatpure. First of all, let me congratulate the MAPSU. It is doing a wonderful job, especially the MAPSU chapter of ISSAR. So, on behalf of the ISSAR, I welcome all of you to this international webinar. And my sincere thanks to the chief patron of today's webinar, Colonel Dr. A.M. Patkar, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the MAPSU, for extending kind permission for today's webinar. And the other patrons of this webinar, Dr. A.P. Som Kumar, respected DA and Dean, and Dr. Aher, Director of Extension, and Dr. Kurkure, Director of Research, and Dr. Kavitka, Associate Dean, and our General Secretary of the ISSAR, Chandolia. And my sincere thanks to the speakers of the day. I especially welcome them to this webinar. And Cyril, especially Cyril, who is Animal Reproduction Specialist from IMV Training and Technical Support and Biology, and Dr. Mishra Savi, again the Animal Reproduction Specialist. So I need not elaborate the role of IMV imaging. They are the leaders in veterinary imaging, and the extent of the research that what they have done and in the reproduction field is really something great. When I joined this profession in 1982, and till date, nobody can replace them. So first of all, on behalf of the ISSAR, I am really thankful for IMV for this today's wonderful gesture, getting associated with us, and for extending a beautiful and today's webinar, so that and also to enrich the knowledge of the veterinarians across the country. And when you look into the topic of our deliberation today, so it is really a wonderful embryo technology, IVF and OPU. And today we are talking about this from years and years, and where you stand today is also very important. And when you look back 10, 20 years, and whatever the current status is really something to be applauded. And this type of improvement, which has led to so much of improvement as far as the reproduction is concerned, and leading to the production in the country, is really highly recognized nowadays. And as we are all aware of, everybody is very convinced that agriculture and veterinary is the only alternate to the development of the country. There is no question about that. And they have understood, even the central government has understood, and they are also with lot of plans and programs to improve in future also. Now, this will be a stepping stone for us today, and we have conducted webinars in so many other fields. But today's webinar, big imaging, is a really very interesting thing. And this is a very, to be learned in a very precise way. And the day definitely will come. Already so many hospitals, they have these facilities. And in a webinar like this, and further, unfortunately, due to COVID, so we are meeting like this. Otherwise, I take this opportunity to request IMV to have one special practical exposure to all the participants in the coming next our national seminar, national symposium. Actually, we were supposed to do in December, and unfortunately, the present scenario has paralyzed everything across the country. So let me take this opportunity to request the concern to please, this is my personal and on behalf of the ISSAR, and a small, I can request you also, because it is my duty, so that our entire members get enriched about that. This is a small invitation for you also. And in the coming national symposium, IMV should play a very important role, because this is the most important field. Imaging is the most important thing ever. So let me not waste much time. And today, because the people are waiting to hear from the main speakers, and already 165 participants on the screen, and I hope so. And another, at least I expect about 250 today. So my sincere thanks to the Honorable Vice Chancellor and all the patrons of this webinar, IMV group, the speakers, and the people behind the screen who has taken so much of pain. And I also, on behalf of the entire ISSAR family and members, I sincerely thank MAPSU and ISSAR Maharashtra and also IMV. Thank you so much. And I remain here and expect a wonderful deliberations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar. Thank you, Dr. Sahatpure. Yes, of course, we will be there in the next symposium, and our experts will be there for the live demonstration and live training in the field, sir. And thanks for your invitation. We'll definitely be there.
Thank you.
Now, yes, sir. Now, I would like to introduce today's speakers on today's seminar. Most of you all know that Dr. Misa was there for first seminar on day before yesterday also. So Dr. Misa is our expert for the livestock and related to reproduction biotechnology. For those who were not available that day, Dr. Misa has more than 25 years experience with IMB. So further, he will introduce himself also in brief when he will get the platform. And the next person of today's as a speaker is Emmanuel Chatu. Emmanuel Chatu has a very rich experience regarding ultrasonography, and he has started his career for the ultrasonography expert and R&D person dedicated to that OPU and other activities since 2001. So he have almost 20 years rich experience of as an expert of R&D also. And I would like to inform that they as a team they have designed a special OPU probe, which they will brief in their presentation also. So by not taking much time, I will invite Dr. Misa and Emmanuel Chatu to take the platform and do the today's activity. Yes, please, Dr. Misha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Giri, for this wonderful introduction. As a first part of our presentation, we would like first to acknowledge and thank deeply the University of Nagpur and the University of Maharastra, together with IMV India, based in Delhi, for the invitation and the privilege to participate on talking about the subject on embryo transfer, IVF and OPU procedures done by IMV Technology Group companies, both IMV Technologies, which I represent, and IMV Imaging, which represent Honorable Emmanuel Chateau. I would also like to thank the patron of the event that has been organized, and with their help and motivation to organize the presentation of today. Before I start to talk about the dedicated subject of the day, I would just like very briefly to introduce the companies for which Emmanuel and I work. IMV Technologies is almost a 70 years old company, which works in all possible equipment and technologies of artificial insemination and embryo transfer. So we are both dedicated to work either with semen or, as the today's subject will indicate, work with embryos. And IMV Imaging is almost, well, it's a newer company, but the original companies that have created IMV Imaging are much older, and you can see them on the slide which is presented in front of you on the left-hand side of the image, where you see BCF and ECM company. BCF, originally a company based in Scotland, and ECM company, which has a very long tradition, more than 40 years experience, and has been always one of the major leaders in ultrasonography technologies, based in Angoulême city in central France. I would also like to acknowledge and to thank Mr. Patrice Emery, who has been the founder of the company ECM and participated in creating of IMV Imaging company, and with whom Emmanuel for the last more than 20 years have been intensively collaborating, and who has decided this year in June to retire, and we wish him also all the best and good luck. IVF and embryo transfer procedure, it's very simple by definition. It is a technique that has been developed by our colleagues and estimated supporters and scientists in order to produce laboratory and non-laboratory, so it means in vivo and in vitro embryos. So we are going to briefly talk first about OPU procedure, the history about IVF and embryo transfer, and then Emmanuel will guide us through the proposition of IMV imaging and solutions which can be proposed for OPU procedures and scanners and ultrasound devices which have to be used and are advised in order to perform an efficient and very interesting OPU procedures. On that first slide that you see in front of your eyes, you see a cow that will be collected by OPU procedures for ovocytes, and then those ovocytes will enter into the laboratory, being fertilized, introduced in the process of in vitro fertilization, culture in a special dedicated incubator for 5 to 7 days, and then they will produce an embryo. They will, during the IVF procedure, will be joined with the sperm, when one spermatozoa, and then they will produce an embryo. That embryo will be transferred into a recipient cow. So the cow that gives the ovocyte will be called the donor cow. The cow that will receive the embryos will be called the recipient cow, and that recipient cow will bring the gestation parturition till the end and give, hopefully, birth to a calf. Okay, so how has been the most important key points of the development of IVF and production of embryos? The data are coming, are barely fresh. They are from 2017 year. There is an International Society for Embryo Technologies, both including embryo transfer and IVF. And every year they gather in January, somewhere in the world, in order to analyze data of the year that has been passed. So to give you an interesting outcome of the year, which was 2016, partially presented in 2017, there were around 30,000 embryo produced worldwide. Out of those, more than 450,000 produced in 2016. The table that you see in front of your eyes, you see the development of, in blue lines, I hope that you see clearly, there are the blue lines which represent the in vivo produced embryos through the years between 2000 and 2016, and in red are presented in vitro produced embryos. And now in the next slide, we are going to see in which countries is mainly developed the production of embryos, either by in vivo or in vitro production. The main countries are North American continent, USA and Canada. Then in Latin America, the leader is Brazil. And then you have the third major market for producing embryos being Europe. They are all what we call a mature market. It means that a mature market is a market in which production of embryos has been established already for the past decades or so. The average price of an embryo produced by embryo transfer, depending on the breed, we are talking about Bos taurus, are around 400 to 1,500 euros or 1,500 euros. The produced embryos by IVF procedure are a little bit cheaper, and they are the cheapest between 150 and 500 US dollars, produced in Brazil in particular, IVF embryos. To that production, you have to add that you average pickup number of 10 to 12 ovocytes per cycle of ovum pickup, and then that produced to a converted rate between 50 and 500 embryos to a cycle. It's a very attractive technique. You need an expert and an expertise in order to be able to run it. It is not a simple technique, and you need to give it time in order to produce repeatable result. Okay. So basically, I'm going to just briefly explain what remains and what are the main benefits of the technique of either ovum pickup consecutive with in vitro fertilization. So the ovum pickup technique, or OPU technique also as it is called, is a technique where you're going to collect immature ovocytes done with Bos taurus superovulated treatment, or Bos indicus or buffaloes without even superovulated treatment, because they are hyper fertile animals which can produce a very consecutive large number of follicles. Those follicles will at one moment mature, produce corpus luteums, and those corpus luteums will produce ovocytes. Ovocytes will be collected by ovum pickup technique, introduced into the laboratory into an in vitro fertilized procedure. So it is, the main benefits is to even be capable to work with pregnant cows or heifers until 3 months of pregnancy, possibility of obtaining an offspring and a donor to whom the embryo has been failed in normal procedure to conceive, and flexibility to work with donors, and a repeatability of the procedure which will allow you to produce a larger number of embryos. What is OPU? So it is a technique where you collect oocytes from a highly genetic cow which has been inseminated in the lab and then frozen and transferred to a recipient cow at day 8 in order to produce embryos and live cows. It is a technique that has been developed for the last 25 years and is considered to be as the future technique for biotechnologies. What are the limiting factors? Because we have to be completely open and to explain. It has to be performed by a trained and skilled veterinarian or technician that has given time and received a proper training to work with the equipment, ultrasonography, probes, and laboratory work with micromanipulators, petri dishes, and needles. And it asks for a certain investment in training, equipment, and facility. Facility, it can be either in a closed area, laboratory, or it can be a mobile area. It means a truck which has been specially organized, in which there is a facility of a laboratory to be performed. You need, of course, to invest a certain amount in equipment, ultrasound machine, and in endovaginal probe or transducer, which will allow you to go and pick up the ovocytes. Pump, in order to create the pressure enough to aspirate the ovocyte through the needle into the falcon tube, and other laboratory equipment. Let's see a little bit through photos, so a very simplified way how we perform an IVF procedure which has been done first by OPU technique. First, you have to set up in the lab the procedure and the equipment that you need: a water bath, an aspiration pump, a transvaginal transducer, and a probe. You have to adjust prior to the technique the pump pressure in order to be able to stably aspirate the ovocyte once the ovum pickup and the needle and the transvaginal probe will be in the animal. You have to prepare the cow. You have to have a special cage in which you will fixate the animal, either the buffalo, either the cow. Then you have to clean the area of operation, and you have to apply epidural anesthesia in order to tranquilize the rear part of the animal so that it doesn't move during the manipulation with the probe. Then you are going to do the ovum pickup technique, where you're going to aspirate the follicles. The follicles are going to be aspirated directly from the transvaginal ultrasound guided aspiration follicle, and then by ultrasonography you are going to fixate and find the follicles, introduce the needle, and aspirate the needle from the follicle and the liquid together with your oocyte into the falcon tubes. Then laboratory work is going to be performed, filtering and collecting the fluid that has come from the falcon tube once it has been collected, searching under the stereoscopic microscope for oocyte in order to find them as efficiently and as quickly as possible, cleaning the oocyte, placing the oocyte into an equilibrated IVM in vitro maturation medium in order to be transported either to the IVF lab or transferred to the neighboring IVF lab. Collection can be done in the field, or it can be done in a closed area. You have photos in front of your eyes that explain exactly, and they speak millions in order to see in which condition you can perform and do an OPU procedure prior to do an IVF technique and procedure. So it can be done either in an open area. On the left photo, you can see also the truck at the mobile. It's called also an ovomobile, which means that's an on-truck mobile laboratory that can go all over the country and work in process in the farm, in the facility of the farmer who has been designated to do and to give donor animals on which the procedure will be done. And on the right-hand side, it has been done in the barn or in the facility of a laboratory, IVF clinic, where they have the special facility to welcome the animals with the proper tools and the proper lodging for the animal to be tranquil, at peace during the procedure, so that the ovum pickup could be collected in time. Of course, during the procedure, and this is just one short explanation, you are going to be using gloves. The gloves are going to be produced which we recommend by Polysem company and IMV Technology sister company based in France, city of Rambouillet, in which it's a specialized for the last 30 years of a company in producing special gloves, either for artificial insemination or for embryo transfer. So this is very useful to know. So just a very quick overview of different tools that can be used and that can be proposed by Polysem, IMV Technologies, and of course, your partner in India, Since 1989, IMV Technologies India, based in Gurgaon, suburbs of Delhi, under the management of Mr. G.P. Raturi, and whom the organizers today want to also thanks for the organization to Mr. Giri and to Mr. Rishi Kapoor for helping us in organizing and be present in today's event. Okay, I give now the word to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you give us also, sorry, Emmanuel, I'm just going to explain this slide and then I will give you the word for the next slide. I apologize. This is the history of the development of the OPU transducer. You have on the upper left-hand side the old techniques and the old system for collection. And today we have, thanks to IMV Imaging and ECM company in particular, the possibility and the development also, but also to BCF for the development of the OPU technique, OPU technology that you can see on the lowercase side of this photo for doing OPU techniques. Emmanuel, just a little bit, a little further explanation. I just want to, because both Emmanuel and I are living in France and basically working in France, I just want to give you some key features and key points regarding France. The first calf in France was born out of an IVF procedure in 1994. In 1995, 1 year later, the first calf born done with the OPU transducer collection of ovocyte was done in 1995. And since 1998, the development of the technique has been done and commonly used in the field. In France, average, we collect around 15 ovocytes collected per donor, which are put around 12 ovocytes are put into maturation, which will give approximately around 3.3 embryos per session of IVF. The pregnancy rate in Bos Taurus French breeds Holstein dairy herd are around, used by fresh embryo, 50 to 60% fertility rate, or non-return rate also, as we would call it. And with frozen embryo, the fertility rate is a little bit lower due to the stress of freezing, and it's around 25 to 40%. IVF stages, in which we have different opportunity to work either from OPU or slaughterhouse ovaries and genetic material. It could be also the situation when you have a high value genetic animal that has been accidentally dead. That's why you have up to 6 hours to collect from that animal the oocytes that you're going to use inside the IVF laboratory. And then for experimental protocol, it's a different procedure in which you can use different kind of probes. So I give now the floor to Emmanuel in order to help us and to understand more the use of the OPU probe together with IMV imaging scanners. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you, Misha, and thank you for participating to this very special OPU IT IVF session. I'm very proud, to be with you today. And I would like to make a very small history about this OPU probe you see on that slide. As Dr. Savik explained you, there is every year this IETS Congress, and it was in 2016. My colleague in charge of US couldn't go there, so I went there. This was in Kentucky, in the state, in Louisville, exactly. I remember it was very frozen weather, not like it is in India. And at this session, this IETS 2016, I have been challenging by a group of French people that I know before. And they were asking me, hey, you, former ECM company, what are you doing with OPU? We need something lighter. We need something smaller. You know, we are doing this OPU technique more and more on young and younger IFers. So what you are proposing to us today, it's not the best, and nobody on the market is offering something very nice. And that's the reason we have been challenging, and we decided, okay, we will go with you. We will listen to you what are the specific requirements you want to have, and we have decided to develop, to design and develop our own OPU probe. If you can, next slide, please, Misha. And you will see that in addition to the OPU probe, because our first focus in IMV imaging is to develop ultrasound scanners, but we pay very much attention about what the market is asking for and what kind of new application can we bring on the market, or where we can improve the products and the equipment. And that we will speak a bit about later, about with whom machine you can use this OPU probe. And you will see that I will focus on the probe and not guide what most of the other equipment are. Next. So the challenge, I mean, was to do something very small and thinner what was on the market. Most of the OPU guide or equipment are on the market something about 30, 35 millimeter. And the big challenge was to do something very small, very thin, to be very adapted to HIFers. As I told you, the trend for the last few years is to collect oocyte from donors cow, which are younger and younger. So we have challenged this very well, because we arrive, I mean, to a 22 millimeter front size OPU probe, which is very, very nice, very appreciated by the vets and the technician on the market. So what is the specificity of this probe? It's all-in-one probe, meaning that you don't have, like you have a guide, you don't need to open the guide, fix inside the probe, then screw again. You can imagine at the end of the session, you have to do the opposite, reopen the guide, clean the probe, everything. Here, once again, guys, it's not a guide, it's an anti-probe. And this is the thinnest on the market, with a nice 150-degree field of view. So you can see everything, you can see the different follicle you want to aspirate. And in addition to that, because as Dr. Savage told you, it's a quite technique that requests, some skilledness. You spend time, you don't collect only one oocyte, you collect up to 12, 13, sometimes even more. So to have something which is less than 1 kilo, everything included, that was also a big challenge, but we succeed. These are here the characteristic of this probe. What is very important is that this OPU probe, it's compatible with 3 different machines of IMV imaging. We will see the Hexapad, Hexapad Mini, but also the Hexago. The customers' benefits of this OPU probe is, of course, the size of the probe. It will allow you to recover IFers around 6-7 months of age. That's very interesting. It's a new innovative equipment regarding the scanners. We will see this a bit later. And it's compatible with all needle options. You get a so nice image quality that it has been testimonied many times that thanks to the image quality, thanks to the OPU probe, the people can collect up to 2-3 more oocyte than the normal. And that makes a big difference at the end. Okay, so this OPU probe is totally sealed. There is no screw. It's very easy to use and very easy to clean. All right. So at the end of this slide, it's written up to 20% more oocyte. And at the end, that could be one embryo more. So Dr. Savic explained to you that depending on the countries, depending on the breeds, that could be for, okay, in Brazil, maybe only a few €100, but some places that can go up to €1,500 per embryo. So that's a lot of money you can save or you can gain with this IMV imaging equipment. We offer also in this equipment, we also offer the complete parts that you will need for the collection. So these are the needle guides from 12G. Mainly this one is used in equine, 17, 18, up to 20G. This is used in bovine. And you have here all the equipment to be used in bovine, or if people are doing also equine, we do supply also this.
Just one comment. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Emmanuel. Do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
The 12G is also in the Middle East and in India. I think it could be used for camel OPU. Okay.
Correct. Okay.
Correct. Please continue.
In Bikaner, you have a nice camel research center where the milk in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock is very nice to drink. I had this experience, but this is true that in India, there are also some horses and some camels. So you have either different techniques, different people are using either long needle or short needle, different way. When you have the short needle, you will push the needle holder. When you have long needle, you will push the needle alone. Okay, these are different techniques, but the OPU probe set we offer includes all this equipment that can be used once again, mainly for bovine, but also for horses or camels. So once again, I told you, I mean, that you can connect all possible needle. We are supplying in IMV some needle. Today, regarding the other equipment and mainly the aspiration pump, there are different suppliers in the world that can help you to do that. I don't think it's secret that we in IMV are also working on additional proposal regarding aspiration pump. So I don't know if we go with that, Misha. I don't know if we have the video, but go here. It's just to show you some ultrasound image, and even here, if it is not live, and as Jerry was saying, and also the director of ISSAR, yes, of course, we were doing this session today remotely, but we really hope that in the near future, we could be on site. We could be both Dr. Savic and I. We could be in India with you to make direct and live seminars and practical session. But here on this slide, you can see how good is the image quality of the equipment we supply. And what could be also interesting for you is that you may, of course, connect on different machines the OPU probe. And in addition, for certain application, you can also add a linear rectal probe that could be also connected, the same linear rectal probe on all the 3 machines that I will explain you a bit now. What this? Yes, what this? This is a linear rectal probe, and sometimes you can use this to check whether the cow is cycled or not. You can do this also for pathology trouble, and you can post-collect. You can also see whether there is really a pregnancy, and if you are skilled, if you have been trained also, you can use this linear rectal probe for fetal sexing. Interesting other application. You have this on this slide. On the left one, the Hexago machine, a very light machine, only 3 kilo, very robust, that works on the field for many years. And of course, I will advise for veterinary institute, schools, but also research center, to go more focus on the Hexapad, the big one, and the Hexapad Mini. These are the new generation of IMV imaging, touchscreen unit, very high image quality, where you will have a definition of image, which is the superior one on the market. These are the few and the features of all these three machines. So you see the size of the screen. You will be even more comfortable to work with a 12 or even 15-inch scanner. The weight, even if it is, I mean, a 15-inch scanner, even the Hexapad, it's only 6 kilo. So this is something you can work either on the battery, or also plug on the wall socket. Look about the battery life. Both Hexaco and Hexapad Mini are really field machines. So if you have to do this OPU in vivo transfer technique, this is a machine that you can bring with you easily. On all the machine, we have the biopsy lines where you will see the needle entering directly in the follicle you want to aspirate. And regarding the number of probes you can connect and switch from one to another, both Hexago and Hexapad Mini, they have only one connector. When on the Hexapad, you can have 2 probe connectors, so you can connect the OPU probe, but also, if needed, if requested, the rectal one. Just to remind you about this OPU probe and the equipment, very important to keep in mind the size of the probe that allows you to collect very young heifers. It's a new innovative equipment, totally sealed, easy to clean, compatible with all needle option and all the wide choice of the 3 scanners of IMV imaging. And we already have a lot of references all over the world. Most of the Bovitech, the Transova, Masterin in Germany, Evolution in France. These are the people using the OPU probe and the equipment. You have here, as you can see on the slide, some of the nice references. Here, these are mainly in France. The people, but it's not only in France. You see Viking Genetic, this is in Denmark, University of Gießen or Masterin, this, and even EFN Schönau in Germany, Tiersfaz Holstein, this is in Norway, ABS both in UK and also in New Zealand, and here in the US you can see Transova, of course, Vitel, University in California. So a lot of references, and don't forget that we have been challenging in 2016 during this IETS in the US. In 2017, so 1 year later, the probe, OPU probe was on the market. So within the last 3 years, we convinced a lot of people. And that's for you, let's say, something that you can rely on. We have sold, and even today it's a bit more than this 160. We are close of 200 OPU system that we sold in the last 4 years.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Sorry, sorry, Misha. What is very important also on the last slide, then, if you can see this on the latest generation of machine, ISSAR and ISSAR Mini, it is very interesting, even more today with this special time we are all living worldwide, is that this ISSAR and ISSAR Mini can be used remotely. Meaning that it's very easy to train customers online. It's very easy to provide an expert opinion. And you know that in all AI centers, but also university, research center, it's good, I mean, to be assisted by a remotely expert team. And we also could do remote maintenance. So we are not able today, I mean, to take the probe and to like you have live medicine today, but it's easy from distance way, from an expert to take control of the ISSAR or ISSAR Mini to move certain parameters to improve the image quality. So it's a plus on the ultrasound equipment we are promoting.
Emmanuel?
Maybe connectivity problem, you said?
Okay, I'll take the word. Okay, before we finish, we are almost done with the presentation. Emmanuel will come back to us. I'm just shortly stopping sharing because I want to show you a movie regarding what we are doing. So just allow me a few moments, please. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Misa.
You are here. Okay. I'm just changing something on my screen. 1 second, please.
Do you see me again?
Yes, we see you again, Emmanuel. We
I'm
heard you
very,
very
very
well.
sorry. There was a shutdown, electricity shutdown at home.
Okay.
No worries. No worries.
Sorry for that.
So I'm showing you. Yeah. Yes, Emmanuel, can you finish your sentence, please, while I'm looking for a movie?
Yes, I was just saying that this remote access with ISSAR Mini, it's a very nice tool that people can use when they hold, of course, the ISSAR Mini. When you had this with the very specificity of the OPU probe, that makes global equipment very interesting for Indian people also.
Okay. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. We heard you very nicely, perfectly. I just want to show to the audience, so I'm asking permission for sharing again the screen. Thank you, Mr. Giri, for giving it to me. And please watch a video and listen very carefully about an IVF ovum pickup technique.
On n'entend pas le son, Micha.
On n'entend pas le son? On voit l'image?
Moi, je l'entends. Oui.
Okay. Attends.
Misa, you can brief.
Yes, I will. So you don't hear any noise,
Yes.
Mr. Giri?
Yes, yes. You please brief the steps.
I will. So I'm just showing the movie. So very briefly, it is explaining a procedure of IVF done by Vittel company from the US, and it is showing very good quality of using of the scanners and how easy it is to use and to have very good ovum pickup procedure, which can help them in order to produce very good quality ovocytes, and those ovocytes will be used on a later date in order to go into an IVF procedure. Now, the movie goes on. There is no text. It's just a technique to explain how to use the IMV imaging ovum pickup. Do you hear me? Or you hear me well?
Yeah, you're clear. You are
Okay, okay, clear. How to use the ovum pickup transducer probe, how to mount it. It is something that Emmanuel has explained through his part of the presentation. He said that it was easy, very easy to mount. Remember, it's not a guide. It is really an ovum pickup transducer and probe in order to help you to pick up the ovocytes. So together here, he's mounting the entire device, and after that he's going to be using it together with the needle through the machine across with an exapad ultrasonographer. Will be able to use it, and to, you see, he put the needle, introduces the needle with the guide inside the ovum pickup probe. The needle is coming out on the other side of the transducer, and it is ready to be used in a very simple and easy way. Okay, and there is another movie we would like you also to see and to understand. It is
with the long
one,
needle.
Exactly, the one I heard. I hope you have heard, Emmanuel. So the first show was with a short needle to be used, and now he's showing the same device that has been mounted, but with what we call the long needle. So this is the adapter for the long needle. That's, he's showing all the spare parts that he needs and accessories in order to mount the transducer. He's mounting the adapter on the guide. Then he's mounting the guide into the body of the guide, introduced it inside. Together, he's closing it with the adapter and introducing it inside the ovum pickup transducer, opening the small box, picking up another piece that he will screw together onto the transducer probe holder, and then it will accept a 12 gauge and 12G needle in order to make the ovum pickup procedure. So I will stop sharing the movie because I want to show you another movie, if you allow me and if time permits it. Mr. Giri, is that possible?
Yeah, okay, okay, carry on.
Okay, so this is another movie which I want to show you. So it already started, so I'm resharing the screen again. Are you back with me? Do you see me? Okay,
Yes.
I'm sharing the screen, and here is the movie I want to show you. 1 second, please. It is how to perform an OPU technique. So I'm not commenting. The image will speak for itself. You introduce the probe, and this is how you work with the technique. So this is technique number 1. Okay, this is clear. And now hand position number 2. And then you bring the ovary transrectally in front of the transducer, and you do the ovum pickup procedure. You see the needle, how it is been progressing, and picking up the ovocytes in 3 points and aspirating them into a falcon tube. Did you see?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, very clear. Mr. Giri, with this movie, Emmanuel Chateau and myself had finished our presentation, and we are open now for questions. We listen.
Thank you, Dr. Misa. Thank you, Emmanuel, for your wonderful presentation. And yes, definitely we got exposure of the technicality part from Dr. Misa, and the machine part and the OPU part from the Emmanuel Chateau. And it was very much a wonderful presentation from both of sides. Now we are in the question answer session, and it is very much interesting. And I will invite Dr. Satpure also for this session. Dr. Satpure, you are welcome for the question answer session.
Thank you.
We have many questions, and still questions are pouring in. So I am selecting few of the most important question which will cover the maximum horizon. So I will be a bit selective in the questions here. So first question, I think it will best suitable for Dr. Misa. Dr. Misa, yes, Dr. Satpure, you want to say something?
No, you first finish there.
Yeah, it is from Devajyoti Sarkar. The question is for Dr. Misa. Dr. Misa, what is the media used for freezing of embryo? Is there any difference in pregnancy rate between fresh and frozen embryo?
So in embryo transfer in vivo procedure, there are two most common in buffaloes, Bos taurus and Bos indicus media for freezing embryos using two different cryoprotectant. One is called glycerol, and it is an embryo freezing media based with glycerol. Has been very popular since ages, and now a little bit declining and used less and less. And the other one is using ethylene glycol procedure and cryoprotectant, and this is getting more and more popular media for freezing in vivo produced embryos. The conception rate between those two cryoprotectant in different media is not significantly different, and it is very much depending on either working per breed in Bos taurus or working either with buffalo or Bos indicus. So in Bos buffaloes, which are most common animals in Indian soil, glycerol has shown a little bit better fertility rate than ethylene glycol has. In Bos bovis, Bos taurus, European cows, it is ethylene glycol who has shown a little bit superior fertility scores. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. So I think this is a question regarding the negative pressure to collect the oocyte in OPU machine. I hope as Dr. Satpure is the best person to answer this. Dr. Satpure, can you help us for this question? The question is from Nidhi Shri Jakali.
Yeah.
So the question is, how much is the negative pressure in OPU machine to collect oocyte? How much negative pressure is required?
Generally, we use 85.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. One more question. Manisha Pitroda want to know, it is for you, Dr. Satpure. Instead of OPU, if oocytes are collected from slaughterhouse, like buffalo ovaries, what is the success rate and how to improve the cleavage rate?
That depends upon general media which they are using. But it is better result with OPU oocytes as compared to oocyte collected from slaughterhouse ovary.
Okay. One more question for you. Dr. Javed Khan from Anjora, Durg, Chhattisgarh want to know, which protocol is used for embryo collection and transfer? How many embryos are collected per flush?
That depends upon response of the every animals, particularly when we superolate the donor and how this donor respond to particular that hormones totally depends upon that. Sometimes it will get maximum up to 52, or sometimes it will get 1 or 2, or sometimes there will be no embryo recovery. So
okay.
it depends upon the donor's status and particularly response to the hormones.
Okay. One more question is there. Can we prepare embryo straws to make cow pregnant, like semen straws or for insemination?
So generally, yes, please.
Yeah, Dr. Misha, yeah, please address it.
I will answer after Dr. Sakatpure. Don't worry, there will be a European answer and there will be Indian answer.
Indian answer.
Dr.
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Okay, let's
Sakatpure,
have two
please.
versions. Let's have two versions for this question. Okay, Indian version, Dr. Satpure, please.
So what was the question?
Question is that can we prepare embryo straws
Yeah.
to make cow pregnant?
Yeah. So when when there is a direct transfer is there with a frozen embryo, then there are some protocols is there. So nowadays it is ready available. Just we have to thaw that straw and just we can put that embryo inside the horn in a synchronized animal only.
Okay.
For a person who is working for a company who is producing for the last 40 years straws, I just wanted to say that we have a clear distinction in our offer that can be proposed by IMV India for semen fresh, semen frozen, embryo fresh and embryo frozen straws. Those embryo frozen and fresh straws can be of two families. Embryo frozen straw used with ethylene glycol, what Dr. Sakatpure called direct transfer, or multi-layer embryo frozen straws used with glycerol. All straws are available to our estimated customers.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Misa. Thank you, Dr. Misa. So one very good technical question is arising here from Dr. Sanjoy Saha. Dr. Sanjoy Saha wants to know, in two processes, which process is more cost effective and more birth rate giving? That is in vivo fertilization after multiple ovulation, embryo aspiration and embryo transfer. Second option is follicle aspiration, in vitro fertilization and embryo transfer. So which is better or which is more cost effective and better birth rate giving process? So I will request Dr. Sahatpuri to address this question.
So generally in embryo transfer, that is in vivo, we require costly hormone like FSH. Nowadays it is very difficult to get this faltropin hormone in India. And as compared to this, IVF is nowadays it is a good technique because it doesn't require any such costly hormones, and we can aspirate every after 5 days to such donors, and we can collect up to 20, 20, 30, 40 type of number of oocytes from every after 5 days. And out of that, suppose we consider that at least 30% embryo will convert. So that means from 25 to at least 7-8 embryo will be produced from one aspiration. So definitely IVF technique is cost effective and better as compared to in vivo.
So thank you, doctor. In connection to this question, somebody want to know that what is the cost of performing single ETT, just average in Indian condition, just for knowledge.
That again depends upon the number of embryo you can produce from one trial. Suppose sometime you will get 20 embryo, then cost may go up around 1,000. Suppose there is no embryo, there will no cost. So
Okay.
that again depends upon the response and how number of embryo produced from each animals.
Thank you.
1,000 rupees or 1,000 rupees?
1,000.
I think Misa will be happy if it is 1,000 euro.
Yes.
It's 1,000 rupees.
Rupees. Okay. Fair enough.
Sadia Naz want to know what is the ideal size of follicle to get a good quality oocyte. Who will address this? Dr. Satpuri?
No problem.
Yeah,
So Dr. Sakatpure for buffalo, and we can answer for Bos Taurus. Please, Dr. Sakatpure.
Generally 10 microgram size of follicles are sufficient to aspirate. Not less than 10 mm.
Not less than 10 mm. With respect to buffalo, doctor?
So it is up to 7 mm.
Okay, fine. Now, Dr. Misa?
Yes, and it would be 8 minimum size for both Taurus and both bovis.
Okay.
And if I can add, so that you will see and understand how is the image quality of the IMV imaging, is that there are some people who are collecting 3 millimeter follicle size because of the image quality of the machine, mainly Hexapad or Hexapad Mini. There are some people who are collecting around 3 millimeter size follicle. So when Dr. Sapure said, or Dr. Misha said 8-10 millimeter, I will say, even if it is a hard and technique that requests skills, with the image quality of the IMV imaging scanners, I will say it's something a kid can do that, no?
Well, it is challenging. It is challenging. So challenge taken, but anyway. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Whether question from Dr. Javed Ur Rahman Khan. So you want to know whether by using needle frequently for oocyte collection can cause any damage to ovary.
Emmanuel.
So actually, to answer this, I will say that people, when they use the short needle, they will change quite often. When they use the long needle, they will use one per cow. Sometimes they have to change from one ovary to another. But once again, if the technician or the vet is well expert, there is no reason, I mean, to repeat this procedure on a cow. I have heard, I don't know if it's true, but I have heard that in Brazil, they pick up, I mean, follicle or let's say oocyte like crazy, up to 30, 40, but they don't pay too much attention where they are picking. And maybe you cannot repeat the process very clearly, very often. Misha, probably you have
to add to Emmanuel, so you have to distinguish two clear things. In Brazil, effectively, they are working, first of all, with Bos indicus in a very intensive way. And unfortunately, yes, it can damage the ovaries in one way, but that's why they are not going to use the same animals very frequently. But remember, without supraovulation treatment, with Bos indicus, you get each time a very large quantity of follicles, very large quantity of ovocytes and corpus luteum. Therefore, the question is not really applicable. On Mediterranean buffalo, the process has been done in cyclicity of every 3 weeks, and each time by picking the different ovary. So it means that today I'm going to pick up left ovary, and in 3 weeks I'm going to pick up on the right ovary. And therefore, I'm going to give time to the left ovary to recover, and then the right ovary will have time to recover. And that's why you anticipate any damage of the ovaries in order when you want to use intensively an animal. But nevertheless, in Europe, they are not used so intensively as it is done in Brazil or sometimes in the US, for example. And therefore, there is large time for animals to recover between 2 OPU sessions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Misha. So there are a few questions as I would like to convey you panelists that since this is an international program, neighboring countries participants are also there. So there is one good question from my friend from Bangladesh. There are participants from Pakistan also, participants from other neighboring countries, Nepal also.
Welcome.
India. So one of my friend, Motiur Rahman from Bangladesh, he want to know, can we help them as a consultant and to establish a new lab? And yes, if yes, how much fee you need, Misha? How much fees you need? I need
so this is a question, I'm sorry, this is a question for consultancy and tech support that is actually asked to IMV India. And then in agreement, so I think it could be organized. I'm talking in conditions where we don't include the current situation with the COVID-19. So in normal working conditions, it is organizable, but it is something which is entirely managed by IMV India in collaboration with Technologies headquarters in France and IMV Imaging. We have key opinion leaders and specialists who are dedicated to help us to work this kind of projects and could be organized. And Emmanuel, we are thinking of, for example, for other repro work, not necessarily embryo, but it could be also semen or ultrasonography, respectable Giovanni Niemi as an example, can be organized in different countries, projects that can be mounted, but always supervised by IMV India headquarters in this area of the world.
Thank you, Dr. Misa. For the neighboring countries, I would especially want to say that Dr. Mathur, you have my email ID, you can just write me, and yes, it is your best idea to come in India and see the Indian facilities. We have many facilities in India, and all the neighboring countries are actually an Indian subcontinent. Everything is same. So what we can do, we can collaborate here, and of course we have our internal in-house consultants also, and we can arrange collaboratively, and we can work out. You can write me and you can email me about these things. And another thing is that question is coming. So one question I have received from one of the participants, he want to know, is it only used for bovine only? Is it only dedicated to bovine? Emmanuel, is this OPU system only dedicated to bovine?
No, of course not. I mean, it's used also in equine more and more. Of course, in equine, let's say the trouble, if it is a trouble, is that XC labor, there are not too many in Europe, at least. Even in the US, only a few. But it's used also in equine and also in camels. I don't know if it is usable in other species like
small ruminants.
Small ruminants, yes.
Small ruminants, Emmanuel. Small ruminants, yeah. Emmanuel.
All right.
And
yes.
There is also a demand as a curiosity question for llamas and alpacas in Latin America. And I know of a lab in Australia who is doing only IVF procedures through ovum pickup in exclusively llama and alpacas. And I would be able to even send to Mr. Giri those information and maybe a website, but not right now, but after the meeting. And those information could be sent to our honorable presented guests today. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Dr. Satpure, what is the minimum interval that we perform OPU for a cow? And is there any preventive treatment for the cows that can suffer from the procedure?
So there is no any problem. Generally, we can regularly aspirate animals every after 1 week. There is no problem. Without that is called priming with FSH, we can aspirate animal every after 1 week.
Okay, thank you. Which protocol is commonly used for superovulate a donor animal, Dr. Satpure?
Superovulation, there are several protocols. We have different protocols. Generally, we'll give FSH in a slow tapering, that is 4-day treatment. And then on 3rd day, there is a prostaglandin along with FSH. And on the 4th day final dose, then on the 5th day of FSH, the animal come in the estrus, we'll inseminate animals in the morning, evening, and 6th day also. And from 6 to 7 days after that, yeah, we'll aspirate, we'll recover all embryo from uterus with the help of non-surgical method by putting catheter inside the horn, first right side and then left side, and then evaluate it.
Thank you, Dr. Satpure. Sajid Iqbal want to know, is there any difference of fertility rate in cow and buffalo? Buffalo, especially Nil Ravi, through OPU.
Definitely, as compared to the cow. Generally in cattle, number of germinal oocytes, number of premature oocytes are more in cow as compared to buffalo. So that's why the recovery rate is very few. Even in embryo transfer, there are recovery is very less as compared to cow in buffalo. Even aspiration also very difficult in buffalo. We'll get minimum 3, 4, 5, 6 oocytes. But in case of cow, you can easily collect 30, 45 oocytes.
Okay. Can we use embryo straw in non-synchronized animals, Dr. Satpure?
No, not.
Okay.
We have to synchronize it because it's require corpus better develop corpus luteum. That is called 7-day corpus luteum at least we require. Then only we can transfer.
Okay. I agree completely with Dr. Sakatpure. We never do embryo transfer or IVF on natural cycled animals. They have to be superovulated and synchronized.
Yes.
Okay. There is
Thank you.
one good, thank you, Misa. There is one good question coming for, especially I would like to request Dr. Satpure to address this one because it is for the Indian context. So Dr. Satpure, Dr. Bhaskar want to know why it is not so popular in India, unlike US or Brazil, and also the reasons for low success rate in India. So can you elaborate this process?
First major problem is FSH. It is which is required for supervision is not easily available in India because still we required very critical procedure because I imported 50 vials and that's why I required total 1 year I lost in that for only purchase from vitoquinol. So it is very difficult. Then it's a ETT as per as concerned, it is required well-trained persons. Anyone cannot sporulate properly or flush out the embryo. Then after embryo recovery, there are morphological structures. Their evaluation is also important, and then it will be transferred in the proper animal. Generally, it will only possible at well-organized farm as compared to village level. That's why it is not popular in India. But nowadays, IVF is going on more. Now IVF is coming day. Definitely IVF is more popular as compared to in embryo transfer because last year, 2 years back, under Rashtriya Gokul Mission, this central government has sanctioned 32 projects, and at least every state have 1 or 2 centers, and they all centers they are registered on e-Pashuhat. Now in future, these all registered center will provide IVF facility to their farmers. They will done this IVF technology. They will produce embryo. They will frozen this embryo, and they keep their all records on the e-Pashuhat. And anybody requires, particularly that states, they will register their requirement for, suppose in Maharashtra, they want to transfer 10 IVF produce embryo, frozen embryo. They will give request to that particular center, and that center, it is duty of that center, they will undertake that program just like AI. In future, definitely this facility will be available in India.
Thank you. Thank you. We can say, Dr. Satpure, we have very much promising future. Like Brazil, we can develop everything here in India also. So, and we are going fast forward on the right track in this line. Thank you, Dr. Satpure. So, Sir Emmanuel, I have a question for you. In your presentation, you have said that this is a OPU, not a guide. What do you specifically you want to say about this thing? This is a OPU, not a guide.
When we were challenging Jiri and the others in 2016, we had already a probe which was not the best, quite big and so on, and it was a guide. Meaning the main difference is that our OPU probe is all in one, and you don't need to open a guide, so 2 pieces of plastic where you will insert inside the probe. So in this guide, you have to screw most of the time average of 8 screws. So you unscrew all these 8 parts, you open, you place the probe inside, you put together the 2 plastic parts, and then you screw again the 8 parts. And then you use, let's say, like a normal probe. When you finish, you need to open again the guide, 8 screw again. You may lose the screw. You will lose a lot of time to clean the probe inside because there will be some blood, some urine that will go inside anyway. The OPU probe of IMV imaging is a total seal probe, and you have no screw. You don't need to open. So it's you start, you turn on your scanner, and you take the long or short needle. You're ready to scan and aspirate. And at the end, what you just clean the probe, and that's it. When with a guide, it takes a lot of time. You risk, to lose some screws, and it takes also a lot of time to clean then after. And most of the time, when you have a guide plus the probe inside, you cannot be thin. you cannot be 22 millimeter. You will be 30, 35. So all the disadvantage, or I'll say, I will put it in another side, commercial way, a lot of advantages to use the OPU probe of IMV imaging.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you for briefing us, telling about the conventional OPU guide system and
Exactly.
advantage of the new evolved complete OPU probe, intact one, where you need not to go for unscrew the things, and it is not thick, it is very much thin as much as possible, and the view is, as you have said, it is more than about 150 degree. So it's a complete all-in-one, and it multiple needles can be used here. So I think it's a wonderful tool. After, I think it is available after 2017 only.
Yes,
Earlier
we
it was
developed
not
this.
there.
We started in 2016 when we have been challenged. We developed this during the 2016 year, and I think it was March 2017 when we started to sell this OPU probe. And up to now, sorry, we have been very successful with this probe. People are very happy. It's thin, it's light. It saves time preparing the material, cleaning the material, so only advantages.
Thank you, Emmanuel. As you said, it is very thin, and you have invented it with respect to the heifers at your part, and it is suitable for heifers only. In this regard, it is very much ideal for our indigenous cows available in India and neighboring countries. So it's very much ideal one. Thank you very much. By seeing
Welcome.
these things, few of our participants want to request us whether we as IMB can conduct a live training for ETT and IVF purpose. So I want to convey on your behalf that yes, definitely we can conduct, and you can mail us, you can write us, and we can schedule a customized online training also. Because of Corona, we can't visit the field, and if it not have been Corona situation right now, we might have conducted 2-3 a live seminar with the help of Emmanuel. So Emmanuel was supposed to come, but because of Corona, he is not able to come physically. But no matter, we can conduct these things online also and customized one. So this is information from our side as IMB. And another thing, that there are few queries regarding the prices. Prices depends which country, which organization, which part, what is the taxation system, what currency you are doing. So prices part, we will propose you on email. If you write to us, you have our email ID. You can write to us. We can give you the prices. And some of has asked for the price of the probe. Price of the probe, yes, we can give you, but price of the probe is not be enough for you if you don't have the machine. You need an ultrasound machine, either Hexago or Hexapad. So then only it will be helpful. Otherwise, separately you can't purchase the probe only. This is what, and I would like to thank all the panelists. Now we are at the end of the session. I would request Dr. Saatpure for further vote of thanks and other activities.
So thank you all the participants for being here. And first, I am much thankful to my Vice Chancellor, Dr. M. Paturkar, for providing and given permission to host this international webinar. Simultaneously, also all thankful Dr. Somkuar, Director of Instruction, Dean, Dr. N.V. Kurkure, Director of Research, Dr. Aher, Director of Extension, Dr. Kavitkar, Associate Dean of Nagpur Vet College, and my special thanks to Dr. Chandrasekhar Murthy for being here with us for this seminar. Also thankful to Dr. Chandolia, Secretary ISSAR, and I'm most thankful to today's our distinguished speaker, Mr. Emmanuel Chateau and Misha Savik, for nice presentation. I'm also thankful to Mr. Dayagiri from IMV and whole team of IMV, and thankful for their support, because only their support we can host this 3-day webinar, international webinar. So with this, I'm thankful to all, and with request to Dayagiri, please conclude the session.
Thank you, Dr. Saatpure. Thank you very much. And now we are about to finish this one. And once again, I would like to request all the participants for further any type of query, you can write us. We will be happy to help you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Take care. Take care of yourself and your family. Thank you.